Hello and welcome to the SHIPSHAPE podcast, a series of podcasts where we meet amazing people and talk about their experiences, personal, technical, and all related to the maritime world. Come and dive in, dive in, dive in.
ShipShape.pro, the #1 resource in the U.S. for marine professionals.
Hello and welcome to the SHIPSHAPE podcast. My name is Farah and with me is my co-host Talab Hatti. SHIPSHAPE podcast, if you're tuning in for the first time, is a series of podcasts where we take on amazing people and talk about their wonderful experiences, some technical experiences, some personal experiences, all related to the marine world. And Tala, of course, will be able to shed more light on that. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guests. And of course, Tala, take it away.
Welcome. So with us today, we have Khadija and we have Mel, okay? And these two, and doggies, and these two beautiful people, I don't know if you can see this in the background already, they're on a sailboat right now. So they're living on a sailboat full time. We're going to find out how that story began, what led this, and, what they've been up to in their past lives. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for being a part of this journey. I mean, as you know, we tend to do lots and lots of interviews on the ShipShape podcast. And when Talha told me about yourselves, the first thing we thought was, this is the cutest couple ever. That's the way he introduced you guys to me. He said, Farah, that's it. You need to do this. We need to meet because I have found the cutest couple. So please, tell us a bit about yourselves. How did this amazingly adorable couple that I've had the opportunity to speak to off camera and off mic, how did you two meet?
We first met, she was 16 and
I was 17. Don't make it weird.
16 or 17. But she was visiting a neighbor and she had car problems and he said I knew how to fix cars. So I went over and all it was a fan belt. I tightened it up and everything worked fine after that. And then about 3-4 years later, then we started dating.
You stayed in touch over a fan belt?
No, not really. This one here says when I fixed the fan belt, evidently at that point she had fallen in love with me. I didn't know anything about it, and wouldn't have done anything at that point anyway. She was underage. I mean, come on. But after that, once we really started dating, we dated for a while, a little bit of on and off stuff there. Then we really got together and we got married, and we've been happy ever since.
And that was how many years ago?
It'll be 19 years in December.
Wow.
And you have a son, don't you? You have a son and two beautiful dogs.
Yeah, we have the two. I don't know about beautiful. They're dogs,
They're cute.
The wife loves them. I want to use them for fish bait.
Nico, come
how
here.
that goes.
So they can see this perfect little
That's one of the things we'll talk about as far as the boat's concerned. The little one doesn't shed too much, but the big one, we have hair all over the place. Let me tell you.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Oh, we got a Chihuahua. Yeah, we're definitely going to ask you. Maybe there's a dog breed. There's like a good dog breed, like a Chihuahua's a good dog breed. But don't answer yet. We'll come to like pets in just a sec, okay?
He's great. Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I want to give my interpretation of how we first met.
Oh, here we go.
Ooh.
My very best friend, I was at their house and my car broke down and they said, over to Mel. He's good at fixing things. And, I was 17. I had a Plymouth Reliant Series K, which I'm pretty sure I pushed more than I drove. And I knocked on the door and he opened the door and he fixed my car and he definitely stole my heart.
Oh.
Yeah. And then of course, I went away to college. I come back for the summer like you do. And there he was, still amazing. I was like 20 at that point.
That is the sweetest.
But yeah, so he of course remembers the fan belt. I don't remember what it was, but engineering brain remembers that.
So it was love at first sight then?
For me, it was definitely love.
Oh, that is the sweetest.
It was
Okay.
for me. It wasn't love at first sight for him.
Yeah, there was some arm twisting from her to get me into this.
He's glad
That's
about
No
it
funny.
now.
regrets.
But it's been great. I
19
got no
years.
complaints.
Exactly.
Been a couple
Wow.
19 years
decades.
later.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so
Okay,
fill
so
us in then. So what happened in the middle over there then? In those 2 decades, what kept you guys busy? Who wants to go first?
Children.
Children.
Raising 2 boys kept us really
Yeah.
busy. My job had me out of town a lot. Um, most of it for me was just work, work, work. She had the East Coast Classic, which uh, you know was a real good thing for her. She got to travel with that. We both
So what's
traveled. I
that?
took
So what
the
was the
East
East Coast
Coast
one?
Classic was her belly dance.
Oh,
What do
we're gonna
what do you
dig.
call it?
Yeah, we
It's
need this
an
story.
international belly dance festival. We had competitors from France, Germany. I would travel around the world. We had it was lovely.
Yeah, and then the
Sounds
COVID
exciting.
came along and pretty much shut that down.
Oh, this is pre-COVID.
Because people wouldn't come, things like that. But she's still a professional belly dance instructor, so she has her business, and I still
Ooh.
work. I work on ships, and I started working
Hmm.
on ships when I joined the Navy in 1981, right out of high school.
I see.
Went out and saw the world, mostly the Mediterranean and those areas, North
And so
Atlantic.
you guys were married at the time, and you were out at sea like 6 months of the year, or how did that play out?
No, I was pretty much getting close to the end of my career in the Navy when we got married. So my
Hmm.
traveling was after I got a job as a quality assurance, and we went to Hawaii and Washington and Connecticut because I was working on submarines at the time.
I
And
see.
then I got a job as a project manager and pretty much stayed here because we wanted to raise the boys with me here instead of traveling. And now that they're grown, I'm starting to travel a little bit more again. But our third anniversary, I took her to Ireland, and we've been to Jamaica and a couple other places here and there. We got the travel bug. So
okay, so
Nice.
this is where I have to ask you, right? So both of you married long time, this is where I always say this in my interviews. Tal obviously lives on a boat. For those of you who don't know, he spent the last 10 years on a boat. He absolutely loves it. I've spent the last 10 years on land. So
Mm.
for me, if somebody asks me to get up and move on a boat, it a lot of processing has to take place for me to even get there mentally. My understanding is you sold your family home and bought a boat. How did that come about? And how did you both agree to this decision and go down this massive journey and travel so much and not kill each other in the process?
well, that killing thing almost happened a couple times. You know how things go, married couples.
First time
Most
you change out a bilge pump.
it kind of started about 5 years ago. We started watching SB Delos and La
And that's
Vagabond, things
a
like that.
sailing, yeah, channels, and the
Yes,
lifestyle sort
channels
of
on
caught your eye.
YouTube,
Yeah.
all the sailing stuff, and a couple other ones too. Really influenced us as far as the sailboat goes. But being in the Navy, being a sailor,
I was
I
going to
mean,
ask.
if you look at it, on a naval ship, you got a 3 foot by 6 foot rack that you sleep in. This is a whole lot better than that. And I love the sailing, especially. What really got me about the sailing part was when I was out in the middle of the Atlantic and you look up and see the stars, you can see a whole lot more than you see anywhere around the land because of all the light pollution. And
So
it's
both of
so calm.
you came to this idea together. I mean, Mel, obviously you lived in the ocean. You worked with the Navy, so it's totally different experience for you.
But it
You'd
wasn't
been on it.
sailing, right? None of it was sailing. It was like
None of it
big
was,
power
yeah,
boats.
but
Yeah.
you were
I sailed a
associated.
couple of times, but being on the
Yeah.
water was the thing for me.
Ooh, okay.
So Khadija,
And
what
then
what suddenly made it
Khadijah,
happen for you?
Oh well, I was 7 or 8 years old when I started sailing. When it was such a culture shock to go
And
from
where'd you
like
grow up?
Philadelphia,
Philadelphia.
and so to go from Philadelphia to this, you know, lovely Black community, Muslim, Black and amazing, to where, I don't know, you might have to edit this out. I thought that this is where they made white people. Because I've never seen so many in my life.
In Philadelphia.
I'm not kidding. I just say, man.
No, not in Philadelphia.
No. Then?
No, we met down here.
Okay.
But so when we moved to Newport, my mom had remarried, and he was a Navy guy, and so we were stationed in Newport. And my mom was like, "Okay, well, what do the kids here do?" Well, everybody sails. And so she got me into the junior sailing program, and that's how I started sailing. And I loved it. I loved it so much. I think it might have been the only place where I didn't feel different.
This is why to this day she's the captain and I'm the first mate.
I'm not.
Oh, an engineer.
So Mel, tell us a little bit more about like your Navy experience. Like, what were you on? How big was like the biggest boat you've been on?
The biggest boat I served on was a carrier, the USS Eisenhower, and I was also on the CGN 37, which is a nuclear cruiser, because I'm a nuclear machinist mate. And then I was also on a destroyer from World War II as a training exercise for about 5 months before I went to nuclear power school.
And so what does a nuclear machinist do? That sounds like so out there.
It sounds fascinating.
Yeah.
So with nuclear power, you got a nuclear reactor. You got a couple of them on the ship. They produce steam that drives turbines.
Yeah.
All right. The mechanics usually take care of everything that drives the turbines. Once the steam comes over, we light the turbines off. It makes the power for the ship. It makes the water for the ship. Anything that requires power, we take care of the mechanical side of it.
Wow. So it was a full-time job.
Yeah, that's
right? You lived on the boat.
How long what were the longest stints that you would have to take part on the boat?
Most of our cruises were 6 months long. We had a couple, 4 of them about 3 months long. And then a lot of the Caribbean cruises, we went down there quite a bit. That was for a month and a half, 2 months sometimes.
I mean, can I ask quite honestly, didn't you get cabin fever? I mean, because bear in mind, it's not like the boat that you're on at the moment where it's wide, spacious, you're docked, you can meet people, get in and out and take a break. You're actually stuck in a little hole. As you said, the berths would be tiny. It's quite claustrophobic. So how would you end up? I mean, I would be petrified of water after that, but you're saying you fell more in love with it.
Well, mostly because I was in the engine room most of the time. You don't see the water down there. So when you get to come up on deck and actually see the water, it's kind of a freedom thing. And you really do fall in love with that.
Nice. I like that story.
That's lovely, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
So basically, how many years have you now been on the boat?
This is our first year.
Yeah.
A year and a half.
First year. So
right at a year and a half.
So you sold your house a year and a half ago.
Yes.
Did your kids know about this? Was this surprise for them?
Yeah, we told them.
Yeah.
And how did they react? How did your family react?
How'd your son react? Yeah.
He was quite surprised. I feel like
he was surprised.
I don't think he was surprised. I think he is.
He wasn't.
Yeah, he's used to our level of shenanigans. Like it's fine. He lived on the boat with us for just a month, 2 months, something, and it wasn't for him.
Okay.
So he's moved out. I'm missing terribly.
He's found his own house.
Yeah,
his own boat.
Killing her because now she's the empty nester.
True. Well, but I mean, just looking at the stats, like some of the stats are literally showing that like the main demographic, especially after the pandemic and stuff, is 40-year-olds and stuff whose kids have flown the coop and they're buying boats now. So I think that is definitely on the up and up. But so again, like now you're doing it, so we're gonna ask you sort of firsthand: is would you recommend it? Is it like all thumbs up?
It is the most amazing, most challenging thing we've ever done, and it's really nice to face new challenges as you get older. Because a lot of times you're like, my life is set. I'm about to retire. I'm gonna do the same shit until they put me in the ground. And everyone's experience with COVID was different, But for us, it made us realize that the future is not promised. And if there was anything we wanted to do, don't wait.
This show was sponsored by
Boat RX.
Imagine it's the dead of summer and you're on your boat sweltering. Hell, you might even have that air conditioner running. But what about that nasty generator noise, huh?
Boat RX, an industry leader in highly efficient air conditioning on yachts. We produce power from a variety of sources when and where it's available. Whether that's with energy-dense batteries or high-power alternators, an efficient air conditioning solution can change the whole boating experience.
Your solitude or family gatherings won't suffer from that loud generator noise anymore. Get ready for summer. Check us out at www.boatrx.com.
Welcome back to the SHIPSHAPE podcast.
But can I just ask, I mean, coming back to something you said, which would hit home to a lot of people, is like when you hit your 40s and your kids have flown out of the nest, you think, oh God, I'm exhausted. And, you know, this is the last thing I want to do is go down a route which is going to involve me having to physically work so hard. Because my understanding from being on a boat is that it's quite laborious work. It's not easy work. It's physically demanding as well. You know, so to somebody who is completely a novice in this field, what would you be able to give them some advice in terms of, yes, a challenge, it might be exciting, but there's varying degrees to it as well. So don't be jaded or do be jaded or, you know, what honest advice could you give to someone who would suddenly say, I want to do this as well, sell my home, get a boat? Because it's a big decision to make.
I would say don't be jaded, because the rewards are definitely worth the work that you have to put into it. The people you meet, the food you eat, you know, just the sights that you get to see. And you know, we've sailed around here in the Chesapeake Bay and seen, you know, a good little bit. The food is awesome in this area anyway. But what we're literally looking to do is to sail down, go to the Caribbean to get our legs under us really good, and then go to Europe, and perhaps after that on around the world. And those, you know, I've been to Europe. She's been to Europe. We both love it there. The Caribbean, both of us love it there. So going to see those sites in a sailboat where we've had to fly in before, we spend a lot more time and really get that flavor that you want after working your whole life.
And I think to speak to, like, if you're thinking about doing this, it's okay to get it wrong. It's okay to break something. It's okay. You know, we all strive to be perfectionists and to get everything right. And that is not this lifestyle. And that's okay. It can be really freeing to allow yourself to not know things and to seek out new knowledge. And I feel like my neuroplasticity has grown just because I'm doing things I've never done before. I'm like, engineering schematics. What is a ground wire? I got to figure this out. The first, I installed the bilge pump by myself. He was away.
And the bilge pump is what keeps your boat afloat, basically.
It is.
Right?
It's
so
very
good for a skill. Yeah,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And so I had to figure it out. And when I sold our house, and when I bought the boat, Melvin was in Hawaii. So I did all those things by myself for about 6 months.
Wow. Were you scared?
Terrified. I cried every day for 2 weeks.
But so how'd you even find this boat? Yeah.
I have been, of course, looking on Facebook, and this boat came up.
Like, did it just enter your field of vision, or were you like, I want a boat?
You're actively looking.
I was actively looking for a boat.
Okay.
But at the same time, I hadn't sold my house yet. Barely, I don't even think I put it on the market, actually.
Okay, so you were more sure about this side than that exit strategy. I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
You're like, we definitely don't need a house. Okay.
I find the boat. I come to look at the boat. And at that point, the owner was going to start having showings. And I didn't want her to show the boat to anyone else. So I gave her a $5,000 non-refundable deposit.
5,000.
With a
You're just like, don't show this to anyone.
Non-refundable, like this is your money,
and
a promissory that we would complete the sale in 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And I was able to sell our house quickly and honor those agreements. So,
nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
And where'd you guys get this boat?
We bought this from a very nice couple, the Lanes, Danielle and Clemmy. They're the nicest folks ever, and they love this boat. She was crying.
Oh boy! So it's been taken care of.
Yeah. Man. I think she loved the teak. Like loved it. Like loved it. She's in great condition. And they had fallen unexpectedly pregnant. And so they needed to move to land for a little bit while baby Trey is growing.
Okay.
Okay, obviously you made this amazing decision. You took this colossal step. Mel wasn't there. You know, Mel obviously trusted you to make this decision. Now you've got the boat, you're setting it up, everything's good. 6 months in, you start living on the boat. And then you start sailing. Give me your best moment and your worst moment where you just turned around and just thought, oh my God, Mel, we're moving back to land.
And the reverse, thank God.
He was actually gone when that happened. Not that he didn't get an earful from me.
Or 3.
I was having some issues with the marine air conditioning system. And you can see we have dogs. So of course, we try to keep things temperate if we're here at the dock. So that was really frustrating. I brought in a huge portable air conditioning unit with duct work. It was too much. And that was probably the most frustrating thing. And the part that I had to learn to fix things myself, because eventually I figured out how to flush the system myself using a shop vac and a skinny nozzle and the power of Grayskull.
Yeah,
nice.
Necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Right, I figured it out.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, I hired marine techs, you know, because I came from a house. So I was like, oh, my air conditioning isn't working. I'm gonna call an air conditioning marine tech. Don't do it. Figure it out.
Just get creative.
Figure it out.
Just figure it out.
Yeah. What's the best moment?
I got a sailboat maintenance manual that I'm looking at right now and YouTube, and I figured it out.
That is amazing. Okay, give me your best moment. Give me your best moment.
Dolphins in the bay.
And that happens regularly then, right? That's way better than the other one, right?
Oh, no, that eclipse. Tala, you were with us. The eclipse.
That was a good ride.
We had freaking Captain Ahab, single hand sailing, bare feet Matt.
Yeah, Captain Matt was driving it. And it was spectacular. It was a lunar eclipse, a full lunar eclipse, right? Complete lunar eclipse. Yeah. And we literally saw the moon just like essentially disappear. It didn't disappear. It was still there, just like really dark. Yeah.
Wow.
And then a couple hours later, I guess, right? It came back. Yeah. And it was funny. And we had people with us on board. We could see their minds blowing in front of our eyes. They're just like, does not compute. What's
Everyone
going on?
was having an existential moment where we were sort of pondering the way that maybe ancient people thought about these eclipses. Like they didn't know it's going to come back. You know what I mean? And how like we think about like monolithic structures and things like that, and how, early peoples were like, well, how can we lure it back? How can we figure this out?
Yeah, we messed up. Yeah. We're all
how
dead.
can we determine when it's going to happen again. And it's that curiosity that probably brought us to the water and brought us to this lifestyle, that innate human curiosity.
And that was, I think, one of the coolest things about that. And you guys tell me about like what you think about this, but what my best recollection from that night was just like everybody aboard that boat was just beautiful. And there wasn't like 1 or 2 people, there was 10 of us, right?
Yeah.
And
Beautiful.
everybody got along and was just there for that moment. And who knows, it might never ever happen again. But on its own, that was just beautiful.
It was a special
right?
moment.
It was. And how do you feel about like the community in general?
Melvin's experience is a little bit different from mine.
Mel's got more experience on the water, right? With different kinds of crew.
He does. Yeah. He has learned a lot about sail trim, so I know more about like sailing. He is
I agree.
Terrible at helmet. I like nobody wants me to bring this boat out or in.
So the one that you learned on was one of those little ones?
J22s, laser, sunfish, small boats. Right. That's what I learned with.
You always got wet.
Of course. Yeah. So like of course I can work the sails, upwind sails, downwind sailing. I've got it. And I feel like the thing that's interesting is that like I was standing on the deck and there was someone at the T head and they came over and introduced themselves to me. And I was like, "Hi, nice to meet you." And they were like, "Well, so who's the captain of the boat? Who's the skipper here?" And I was like, "So I just stuck my hand out again." And I was like, "Hi, nice to meet you." This was the oddest conversation ever. I wasn't trying to make him feel like a dick or anything, but I was just like, "But I'm standing on the boat." And whenever we're like talking, everyone only talks to Melvin.
Well, he looks like a serious type of guy, right?
He looks like
Though I keep him happy. Yeah. They don't know it's the other way around. Yeah.
That's why I always introduce her as the captain and me as the first mate.
Because they just, it's.
Oh, and the Chihuahua is the admiral, by the way.
Speaking of Chihuahuas,
yeah.
Can I just ask? I mean, this is the first interview that I'm doing where somebody has a pet. And it's interesting to know, like, so did you get the dogs before you moved on the boat? Did you always have the dogs?
Yes,
or?
Yeah.
So how did they react? That must have been an adjustment for them.
Nico has taken to it. Nico is amazing. He loves it. Bowser, on the other hand, she's a little more timid. And she's really our son's dog, and he's thinking about taking her with him. But she's happy because she's with us. But it's definitely not her. She's like the dumbest dog I've ever owned in my life. She drinks salt water. I've never had a dog that will drink salt. Like we go to the beach and like Nico's like, "That's salt water. I'm not gonna drink that. Not this one." She's not a great one. It's okay.
Yeah, whatever floats her boat. But I mean, so generally, go on.
And dogs obviously need a lot of space to run around and things like that. How do you deal with that problem? Because obviously, unlike cats, dogs have to expel a lot of energy.
How about training them as well?
Twice a day. You can see me. I'm always walking the dogs. Sometimes they get a little scared because I do like to walk. So we have like a 6-mile loop that we'll do, and my dogs will like lay down and be like, "That's enough."
Walk back home, Mama, right now.
Yeah.
I need
They'll
that.
Literally just lay down.
I mean, what else? What else? If like somebody was thinking about pets on a boat, like what are some of the things to think about? Things to do, things not to do.
Your bilges are going to need continual maintenance because the hair will clog your float switches, and that can
get a solid vacuum cleaner. Right?
Yeah, and we got the nice shop vac. We
one that's a wet dry vac. Got to have it.
We have brushes for them. Petting also is a great way to get rid of hair, and they like that too. But mostly, like, you just get with it. Like, it's dog hair. It's not nuclear waste. I get that serious.
So what do you do when, I don't know if you guys have yet, but if you're anchoring out somewhere, what happens then?
We have not yet, but we are gonna do like a green mat. And actually, these cool people came from the Bahamas, and it didn't work for their dog, so they're gonna give us their green mat.
Turn it. But so what is this? What happens?
So it's just a like AstroTurf, and it has a tray underneath it, so they feel like they're going on the grass, and then you just dump it over the side if you're out to sea. Rinse it with some salt water and move on with your day.
Nice.
But in terms of space, like if you were to go out sailing for a couple of days, you wouldn't be able to walk them. How would that fare?
Just take it up and put it in the cockpit up here and set it
They
down
just run
at certain times of the day, because we walk them about the same time every day. Take them up, they do their business, and they come back.
And it also would depend on a breed. Like a boxer, I don't think would be very happy on a boat, but that's just a personal
He'd eat all the
opinion.
cushions.
Like I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but
let's see it. What are we seeing?
Are
they resting? What are they up to?
Yeah, they're sleeping. Like
so this is them at their best behavior.
This is
Bloop.
Oh.
Yeah. Like me.
Yeah. He has no interest in physical activities.
He's like, this is the life.
Floating. If only life were that simple. Yeah. Like, if only life were that simple.
We don't have high energy dogs. I think that would be really hard. We have like dogs that like to sit.
Okay, so tell me about, in terms of, obviously, you're settled on the boat. It's been a year and a half. What's been your best sailing experience so far? Your best sailing adventure?
For me, it was the first one we went out alone. We went out in the Chesapeake Bay here. We got had an 11-knot wind. We were going 7 knots of speed, and it just felt like flying. Especially we're on a close haul, which means the wind's coming at an angle from the front of the boat, and that boat actually heels way over, and that was just awesome.
Oh wow! And worst, something which you basically were like, oh god, I'm a bit scared now.
Couple of things. The worst for me, the propeller. If you jam it between fast and slow, and it's not, you don't take the throttle down. The propeller is a feathering propeller, and it actually.
That sounds really cool. Tell people what that is. Tell them that. That's like a huge technological breakthrough.
Yeah, a feathering prop is when you're sailing and you're not using the prop, the blades will actually go forward and aft so that you can actually, it doesn't slow the boat down.
It reduces drag.
A regular propeller would drop you down 1 knot, about 1 knot. So this goes where, the blades are forward and aft, and you can go, that little bit of extra speed for a sailboat. But if you change it real quick, the blades don't work anymore, and you don't have propulsion. They actually go past. There's pegs on the propeller, and the blades will go past those, and it doesn't give you forward or aft direction anymore.
So it's almost like it's just stuck there spinning instead of like opening up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it won't open up.
You can't really, get in the dock or out of the dock or anything like that. So we actually had to call somebody to help us get into the dock one time because of that. And not being able to fix that myself is a problem for me.
Diving school. Yeah.
Right.
Here we come next. Right.
That's coming. And the other thing is support. Actually, we got it's electronic support in particular, but she was talking about the air conditioner a while ago. We had people come over and take a look at it, and these are people that work on air conditioners all the time. They had no idea what was wrong with it, how to fix it. Same thing with the refrigerator.
We fix it ourselves.
I wound up going on the internet, looking up on YouTube what was wrong with it, and going and finding the company and fixing it myself. And I'm learning that a lot of things on a sailboat in particular are like that. The electronics in particular, and that's a problem for me because I'm not an electronics technician. So how to fix that? How to get somebody here that knows how to do that?
True. So Khadija, I was totally different angle. Tell us, like, your name is obviously such a beautiful name. What is it? What does it mean?
It means precious gift from God.
Precious gift from God. Love it. Okay.
Yeah.
And where does it come from? What's the history behind it?
It is the name of the wife of the Prophet Muhammad, very prominent figure in Islam. And my parents had converted to Islam before I was born. They were both Black Panthers.
Oh boy.
And a lot of Black people preferred to move away from Christianity at that point in the 70s to assert their own cultural identities. And so that's what they did. And that's how I was named Khadija and grew up in an amazing Black community in Germantown, Philadelphia. And then they divorced and my mom remarried and we moved to Rhode Island. I never had pork before. I never saw that many white people. It was fun.
Wow, that's quite a history to be coming from. That's
it's
cool.
great. My dad, he came out to Hawaii to visit us while Melvin was out there. And he's wearing his like keffiyeh, he's wearing his scarf, and my dad remained Muslim. He's been Muslim my entire life. He converted before I was born, and so it's very interesting. It's like
how they react
in two worlds.
Yeah. And how does that, like, how did your parents react to, we're getting married? Like, how'd that go down?
Oh, to this guy?
Yeah, to this guy.
My dad, I'm going to tell you the real story. So my grandmother had passed away and I was there for the funeral. And Melvin wasn't with me, but I wanted him to go, but I didn't want him to go for such a heavy occasion. So I thought I should probably tell my father that I'm falling in love and that this is my partner. So I told my dad, and my dad, he gets down on his knees. I feel like this is such a Muslim thing to do. He gets down on his knees and he says, "You have given me more than I can bear." Allah.
Ooh, in a good way?
Oh.
He says, "My mother dies and I find out that my daughter is marrying a white man."
Oh, so that didn't go down.
Not in a good way. Okay.
Yeah, but he loves him now.
Yeah. Right?
A couple decades.
Yeah, they'll do it. Yeah. And once kids get involved and everything, I bet they're like, oh boy, I guess this is her house. Yeah.
Well, his mom didn't.
Yeah,
I was on that
10.
side. Oh boy, 10. But you're the rule breaker, right? You had to right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the one who got the most beatings.
Yeah.
But my brothers, they didn't really care. My sisters were all for it. My mother, she was against it until she met her and understood that I was going to do this anyway. And then now she's very happy about it. She's happy because we're happy. And after she met her, she understood that this is not a person that is a problem. Because Mississippi, the old ways, they get that way sometimes.
Yeah, she said that she thought I was a lovely young girl because she didn't attend our wedding, as my father also didn't attend. For same reasons. She said she didn't hold with miscegenation. I didn't know what that meant.
I don't know. What does that mean?
Yeah, what does
Mixing of the races.
Ooh.
Miscegenation.
Wow.
God,
this is
a strange place.
Romeo and Juliet moment right there. I love it. Cute.
But I love your determination.
Was this the Kim Crawford version?
I
Just
love
the
your
story.
determination. I think it's fascinating that you stuck through, and this is where I think a lot of your decision of this. When I see you on a boat just now, I see your dogs on a boat. It shines through, your determination to be together, to achieve your dreams together, to go on this journey together. It shows the last sort of 19 years. It's all amalgamating now. I can see you doing. I mean, you said earlier on when we weren't recording that you wanted to sail around the world. I can see you two pulling something like this off.
Do it.
We will.
Do it. Yeah. I mean,
We will.
so that actually that segues really well into my next question for us. Thank you. I was wondering, so you guys have obviously lived on land for 20, 30 your whole lives, okay? And now you're on a sailboat, and you might still have a storage unit or something. But like, how have you dealt with the 20, 30 years of like on land like thing accumulation? Like, how have you embraced the minimalist lifestyle? And you need that to like sail the world for sure, right?
We do. And to me, the minimalist lifestyle is great. I mean, there's a lot less to deal with. I don't have to cut the grass.
Woo.
Very happy about that. But we still have, awnings on land. We have some rental properties and things like that we take care of to help us get along. But we got rid of a lot of stuff that we really, really liked, spent a lot of money on, because we understood then that this is the life, and you just can't take that with you.
When I was going through that process of deciding, like, what are our cherished memories, what are the things that are very, very important to me, it just made me very aware that, like, the memories that you have, some of those things can be really important, but a lot of it is just stuff.
Most of it's all in your head. It's what you think, the tangible stuff is actually not the memory. The memory is what you carry with you.
Right, and it's just stuff. It was helpful to me because I actually gave away a lot of our very nice furniture and things to an LGBTQ life center that helped young people who had been kicked out of their houses because of their orientation to be able to get apartments and to have furniture and the things they needed. So,
well done, you.
I was like, fuck that couch. It can do good.
That's really good. That's really, really good. Mel and Khadija, big journey, 19 years, 1.5 years into this boat. What's the next step? Is this your dream boat? Are you going to be on it for the next 5 years?
Yes.
We're looking to probably about 7 years, and then she wants to move on to a catamaran. But pretty much the next step is within the next 3 years, we really get our feet under us so we can start traveling a long distance. And then I'll retire from my job and we'll go.
Nice.
Define long distance.
Sail the world.
Florida, New York, places like that. Anything more than 500 miles.
Nice.
Basically, we're going to spend a lot of time going out and finding out what breaks, coming back.
Now, would you cross the pond?
Absolutely.
Would you cross the pond? Go over to the UK? Yeah.
Yep. And in fact, that's part of the plan. We're looking at, like I said earlier, going to the Caribbean, really getting our legs under us. But coming back up the East Coast, going New York, Newfoundland, and then over to Ireland to get over to the other side, because that's the shortest route that we know. But we'll have to do that in the summer because I've been to the North Atlantic in the winter and it's pretty rough up there. We don't want to do that.
And the Hunter is really a cabin cruiser. It's actually not really meant for blue water sailing. That would be considered ocean sailing. It's meant to be on the coast. If you're going to adventure farther, you have to have a very careful sail plan and weather window and be a little bit more patient with the earth. And so we're excited about the level of skill that will require, and also the fact that it has to go at its own pace.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this journey. Okay, so tell me your top 5 tips for living on a boat. I mean, I'm talking the most basic even.
What?
It's okay.
It's okay to cry every day.
It's okay to cry every day, especially when you're starting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I cried every day for 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay.
I mean,
Okay,
I'm
tip
talking the
number
most
one.
basic top tips, even things like related to the shower, because you did mention a shower earlier on.
You will get soap in your eye and run out of water.
Oh, no.
Just accept that's
it.
going to happen. It's going to happen. Always carry enough water.
That's what,
per day,
personal
per
note to
person.
future self. Yeah.
Yeah, note to future,
Yeah.
a gallon per person per day. And whatever comfort systems you choose to have on board, those are systems that you have to maintain. If you're looking to travel around the world, if you're, depending on what you want to do, it's okay to let yourself get comfortable being a little less comfortable.
I like that. Being comfortable,
I like that.
being a little less comfortable. Okay.
I like that. That's top tip 2.
3 already. Okay.
2, wasn't
it?
it?
2 or 3?
2.
And what's
No, the first one is cry all you want.
Oh, first one,
Right.
cry.
For me, tools don't float.
What don't? Tools.
Tools do not float.
Okay.
That was an expensive lesson.
Make sure you check your tackle quite often. You are going to have neighbors that you don't like sometimes. If it breaks, fix it quick before the wife threatens to leave.
I love that.
Fix everything that breaks right away, because something
Right
else
away.
is going to break.
That's true though. Yeah.
Yep. And then make sure you take care of the teak.
Yeah, you guys got involved in wood. Yikes.
It's beautiful though.
Yeah. So there goes you. I don't have grass argument. I got wood instead.
Wait. I don't know if you can see this.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Everywhere.
Wow.
Is there enough
Love
space for you to cook and like store fresh products and fresh food and things like that? Is there enough?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have this kitchen is actually pretty good. Hey, Alan watches this. I'm going to look on a boat.
2 weeks don't float. Yeah.
So this is our refrigerator here.
Oh wow.
The ice box.
We don't actually live only on beer.
Just happens
She doesn't. I do.
Yeah.
This is our freezer.
Oh, they're very deep.
Yeah, they're quite deep. This is one open.
Bloop. We cook there. Bloop.
Oh, fantastic.
And we have oven down there.
Yeah, actually.
And we got an Instapot.
Of course.
Right? You got on fire. Bloop.
And this is
key. Spice rack.
It's a fair amount of storage. Just more drop down storage.
Yeah, everything opens up, right? That's the thing about a boat. Yeah.
Yeah, you do have to let go of some things, but you can still eat, live, enjoy your life in some way.
Wow.
Dogs. Live your best
I
life.
love it.
This is a 2-cabin layout. So this is our bedroom.
I'm keeping it simple. This is the back bedroom.
Yeah,
That's the master bedroom. Love it.
It's fine. I just stand up at the top, and then it's got 2 heads.
That's always good.
So
A head is a bathroom.
one head. A head's a bathroom. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
It's a bathroom. Bathroom. And there's Bowser.
And the V berth is
Here's
very
our bath.
comfortable.
Oh.
How's a good girl?
And the
There's our Nico.
doggies.
There's our Nico. He likes sitting. It's his favorite activity. And this is the Z.
And then there's the front.
So that's the phone
Bloop.
at the front.
The day room.
Yes, it's the day
Yeah.
room. It's where you take
Yeah.
a nap. It's actually a pretty nice size. There is another television in here.
Gotta
and
have
then
your TV.
It also has an additional bathroom.
An additional head.
Oh, lovely.
So, for 2 people, it's plenty of room. maybe I can't have roses over for the weekend.
Well, love it, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for the little tour as well.
Seriously, I think it's fascinating to see, and for so many of our audience that are actually watching and listening, every time they tune into ShipShape podcasts, I think you learn something new. If it's not the technical aspect, it's the emotional aspect, it's the day-to-day, because it's very easy to talk about boats and about screws and technology and what's happening, especially if you're embedded in that lifestyle. But for somebody who comes in from a completely different perspective and who might find this lifestyle in general and the marine life just fascinating and something that they've never even thought about tapping into. They speak to somebody like you and Mel, who they just meet in the grocery store, just buying fresh oranges, and
they wouldn't even know, right? Yeah, that's
you just look and say, Mel, you're a project manager, really? Wow, you worked for the Marine. All right, oh my God, you're a belly dancer. You've traveled the world with it, and you live on a boat.
They're walking with their dogs, right?
And there they are. You've never put two and two together, and then you tell us this fascinating story of your lives, your origins, where you come from, and then you show us around your amazing dream boat. It's just fascinating. And all I got to say is thank you so much for allowing us at least a couple of hours in your lives for us to learn so much more.
Yay.
Yeah, this has been super duper fun. Thank you so much for having us. And I just hope this encourages people to live their dreams the way we're living ours.
It definitely does. It definitely does.
Yeah. Mel?
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we hope you stay as happy. You know what? I can tell you now, Tala, a couple of years from now, we need to do a part 2 with Mel and with Khadija. And I want to know exactly where they are. Are they on
We're going to be in the Tongan Islands somewhere.
Exactly. Or are they chilling out on the island somewhere? Right?
They'll be somewhere else. Can you imagine? They'll be like, "Oh, we're just having some fresh coconuts from outside," and
right. Imagine that was a real coconut.
I love it. I love it.
I'm gonna figure out how to make wine on the boat.
Do it, right? That's something to learn on the way. Why not? But awesome, seriously. And then thank you guys for coming on the episode, and best of luck with all your adventures, and stay cool, and hopefully, inspire more people to get out and see the world, right?
That's fantastic. Now, Tala, we don't live too far away from each other, so we might wander over there and say hi.
Do that.
Promise me a belly dancing episode as well on the boat. I'd love to see how that's going to work. You could start a belly dancing marine class, which would be fantastic.
It's good for your balance.
I love it.
Oh, boy. Okay, guys.
Amazing.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye.
Check back every Tuesday for our latest episode, and be sure to like, share and subscribe to ShipShape.pro.